They used incredible weapons, absolutely.
Experimental weapons?
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, they shoot the boss. We saw the boss as like a cloth, like a wet cloth. It seems like a Volkswagen. Big boss, like a Volkswagen.
This testimony was reported to American filmmaker Patrick Dillon a few weeks after the battle for the airport. The person interviewed, Majid al-Ghazali, is a well-known and respected man in Baghdad, who is the first violinist in the city orchestra. In addition to describing the battle, Majid al-Ghazali wanted to show Patrick Dillon the site near the airport where the mysterious weapon was used, along with the traces of fused metal still visible, and the irregularly sized ditches where the bodies were buried before they were exhumed. We sought out Majid al-Ghazali to hear more details of his story. We met up with him in Amman, and he pointed out some inexplicable peculiarities on the bodies of the victims of the battle for the airport.
Just the head was burned, and the other parts of the bodies wasn't anything that happened on it.
Al-Ghazali reported that he had seen 3 passengers in a car, all dead, with their faces and teeth burnt, the body intact, and no sign of projectiles.
There wasn't any bullet. I saw they teeth, just their teeth, and no eyes. All of them, with the body, nothing for the bodies. Just the teeth and all the, the heads were burned.
There were other inexplicable aspects. The terrain where the battle took place was dug up by the American military and replaced with other fresh earth. The bodies that were not hit by projectiles had shrunk to just slightly more than 1 meter in height.
Except that the bodies is killed by the bullets. Most of them that become very small. It's like that, something like that.
We asked Majid what weapon he imagined had been used.
1 year later, we heard that this is update technology. They used a unique one. It's like lasers.
We found another disturbing document on the use of mysterious weapons in Iraq, which refer to episodes taking place almost at the same time as those described by Majid al-Ghazali.
26 in the past, about 20 of them, some of them have no head, the head being cut. Some of them, the arms, the legs. The only one who didn't injure was the driver. And really, I don't know how he reached our hospital. Because one hand, one arm was in his lap, one head beside him. It was a very, very strange, horrible thing. In the roof of the car, there was part of the bodies, momentum, intestine, brains.
Yes, all parts of the body.
It was miserable. It was very, 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 very miserable.
I told them before.
Do you have idea with what kind of weapons they attacked that bus?
The bus, we didn't know what kind of weapon would be hit. Really, what we saw, cut arms, cut legs, cut head, abdomen, open abdomen, viscera outside.
It seems to be a new weapon.
It seems a new weapon.
They try to do experiments on our civilians.
We don't know what was.
Nobody can identify what the type of this weapon.
We went to Belgium to find the filmmaker of the sequence, Geert van Moorter, a doctor working as a volunteer in Iraq.
Here in this footage is taken in the hospital, the General Teaching Hospital in Hilla, which is about 100 kilometers from Baghdad and close to the historical site of Babylon. Here we had a talk with the colleague Dr. Saad Al-Faluji, which is the chief surgeon in that hospital. Dr. Al-Faluji said to me that from the survivors that he operated, that they said they did not hear any noise. So there was no explosion to hear, no metal fragments or shrapnels or bullets in the bodies. So they themselves were thinking of some strange kinds of weapon which they did not know.
Let's hear Dr. Saad Al-Faluji's story about this more in detail.
In this past, it was very crowded. They went from Hilla to Kifil to see their families. But before they leave the checkpoint of American checkpoint, they returned back. They said to them, please return, the villagers. They said to them, return back, return back. When he tried to return back, they shoot him from the checkpoint.
No gunshot wounds.
No. I don't know what it was really. We are here 10 surgeons. We couldn't decide what was the weapon which been hit this car.
But inside the bodies you did not discover ordinary bullets.
All of them we didn't find bullets.
Yeah.
We didn't find bullets. But most of the injured people been dead. So they took them immediately to the refrigerator. We couldn't dissect and see. But those who are alive, we couldn't find any kind of shells. We didn't find shells inside their body.
Something cutting organs, cutting limbs, attacking the neck, attacking the abdomen, and goes out.
Dr. Faluji also ended up speaking about a laser weapon.
But I don't think the bombing and the cluster bombs and the laser weapons could bring democracy to our country.
As in any war, the war in Iraq left us a dreadful gallery of horror, images of mutilations that not even doctors can explain. The witnesses refer to laser weapons, arms with mysterious effects. We do not know what kind of weapons could produce such terrible effects. We tried to learn more about it by asking for interviews to members of companies manufacturing laser and microwave weapons. Yet, the U.S. Defense Department prevented any information from being released to us. They also did not answer, up to the time the film was edited, the questions we had sent them in order to know whether or not experimental weapons had been tested in Iraq and Afghanistan. We tracked down the Pentagon press conferences from before the beginning of the Second Gulf War to see if they spoke about any new weapons being tested. The words of the Secretary of Defense and General Mayers indicate a willingness to try weapons that had never been used before, and the questions from the press about direct energy and microwave weapons made them visibly uncomfortable.
Mr. Secretary, can I ask you a question about some of the technology that you're developing to fight the war on terror, specifically directed energy and high-powered microwave technology? When do you envision that you can weaponize that type of technology?
Goodness. It is in, for the most part, the kinds of things you're talking about are in varying early stages. Do you have anything you'd add?
I don't think I would add much. I think they are in early stages and probably not ready for employment at this point.
In the normal order of things, when you invest in research and development and begin a developmental project, you don't have any intention or expectations that one would use it. On the other hand, the real world intervenes from time to time, and you reach in there and take something out that is still in a developmental stage, and you might use it. So your question's not answerable. It depends on what happens in the future and how well things move along the track, and whether or not someone feels it's appropriate to reach into a development stage and see if something might be useful.